everybody, welcome back to Board Online, Board Offline. I'm Baker Odom, and today we're going to be doing a card close-up of Dead of Winter. So we're going to take a look at all the cards you're going to be getting with the game. The exception is going to be I'm not going to do any Crossroad cards because, you know, for one thing, I don't know if you would want to have spoilers as far as that goes. I guess you can make that choice yourself, but I don't want to have any spoilers as far as the Crossroad cards go, so I'm not going to be going through those. We're going to do a card close-up of everything else, the colony or the non-colony locations, the survivors, and the crisis cards, and all of those. Okay, so here we go.
All right, so first we've got Sparky the stunt dog here. You'll see I'll be doing this in the order of least influence to most. So we got Sparky here. And his special ability is when rolling for exposure with Sparky, if you roll a bite, treat it as if you rolled a wound, which is huge. When spreading a bite effect, ignore Sparky. So basically, he's immune to bites. All right, we got Andrew Evans, the farmer. Grocery store, once per round when performing a search at the grocery store, you may look at and keep one additional card. Forest Plum, the Mall Santa. Anywhere at the beginning of your turn, you may remove Forest from the game to raise morale by 1. So that's actually a pretty funny one right there. Graybeard, the Pirate. He's going to have once per round, you may take a card at random from another player's hand and place it into your hand. Only works at the colony, though. John Price, the student. Any non-colony location, when John is not at the colony, he is considered to have the ability of every other survivor he shares a location with. Loretta Clay is a cook, and once per round with a 4 or higher. Notice it just says 4. It should be 4+. Once per round, you may add 2 food tokens to the food supply. All right, Carla Thompson. Once per round when performing a search at the police station, you may look at and keep 1 additional card. So she's like the farmer, except at the police station, because as you can see, she's a police dispatcher. All right, Jenny Clark, the waitress. Anywhere, once per round when performing a search with Jenny, you may look at 3 additional cards. Brandon Kane, the janitor. At the colony, once per round, you may remove 5 cards instead of 3 from the waste pile when taking the clean waste action. Talia Jones, the fortune teller. Once per round, you may look at the top 2 cards of the crisis deck and place them back in any order. Then you may say exactly 2 words to all players about the crisis cards, nothing more. Mike Cho, the ninja, with what appears to be either very shiny gloves or skeleton hand gloves. Anywhere when performing an attack with Mike, do not roll for exposure, which is a pretty incredible ability considering that he has a 2+ for his attack ability. Harmon Brooks, the park ranger. Anywhere, if Harmon would receive a frostbite wound, he receives a regular wound instead. Bev Russell, the mother. Colony with a 1+ action die. Once per round, you may kill 2 zombies at the colony as long as there is at least 1 helpless survivor token at the colony. Do not roll for exposure. Buddy Davis. It takes 4 or more wound tokens to kill Buddy instead of 3. As you can see, he's a fitness trainer. Here we've got Annalie Chan, a lawyer. Once per round, you may look at 1 card at random in a player's hand that occurs only at the colony. Here we've got Rod Miller, who's just about my favorite guy. He's a truck driver, and he can move anywhere without rolling for exposure. Janet Taylor, she at the hospital. Once per round when performing a search at the hospital, you may look at and keep 1 additional card. Edward White, the chemist. With a 1+, once per round when performing an attack with Edward, you may play a medicine card to kill 3 zombies instead of just 1. So he apparently makes some sort of bomb with it. Do not roll for exposure. Do not use the ability on the medicine card. There's some debate as to whether or not this takes 1 or 2 action die. The designer had initially answered that it only took 1 on a forum on BGG. However, when the frequently asked questions came out, it said 2, 1 for the attack and 1 for this ability. So only thing I could say is just keep checking back, see if the frequently asked questions change, because last I heard the designer was going back to talk it over with the other designer. John Gilmore and Isaac Vega are talking over to figure out which way they want to go with that. All right, Alexis Gray, the librarian. Once per round, when performing a search at the library, you may look at and keep 1 additional card. Maria Lopez, the teacher. Once per round, you may kill 1 zombie at the school. Do not roll for exposure. That requires a 1+. David Garcia, the accountant. Anywhere, when performing a search with David, you may look at 1 additional card. Note that says look at 1 additional card, not keep 1 additional. So it's like rummaging, but you're able to do it without causing noise. Ashley Ross, the construction worker. Anywhere, once per round, you may perform a barricade action without using an action die. James Myers, the psychiatrist. Anywhere, once per round, you may re-roll 1 or more of your unused action dice. You must keep the second result. Sorry, I couldn't read that last word there. Olivia Brown is a doctor, and once per round you may remove any type of wound token from a survivor that shares a location with Olivia. Olivia also can use this ability on herself, so that's a pretty incredible ability to have right there. Anywhere, once per round, you may look at the top card of a single location's item deck. After you have looked at that card, place it back on top of the item deck. That ability I'm not a huge fan of, but I suppose it's good for the purposes of deciding whether or not you're going to go to a location. Gabriel Diaz, the fireman. Once per round, when Gabriel is at a location with an item deck, you may reveal the top 4 cards of the item deck. If you revealed any outsider cards, you may place 1 into your hand, shuffle the remaining cards back into the deck. So if you actually want to bring some outsiders into the game, he's the man for the job. Arthur Thurston, principal. Once per round when performing a search at the school, you may look at and keep 1 additional card. Thomas Hart, the soldier. Once per round, you may kill 2 zombies at the colony. Do not roll for exposure. Daniel Smith. Anywhere with a 4+, once per round, you may kill 2 zombies at Daniel's current location and only roll for exposure once. And finally, we've got Brian Lee, the mayor. Anywhere, once per round, you may increase an unused action die you control by 1. Okay, with the crisis cards, first we're going to go through all the food crisis cards. And keep in mind that the fail, or what you have to do for each of these, the success condition is exactly the same in terms of its function. So here it's food, and you need food to equal the number of non-exiled players. And that's going to be the same no matter what the thing is that you need. The fails are what really differentiate these. So first let's go through the foods. With Raiders, if able, each non-exiled player must randomly remove 1 card in their hand from the game. Lose 1 morale. Horror in the Night. If you fail, you lose 2 morale. Starvation, fail. Add 1 starvation token to the food supply. Lose 1 morale. Overpopulation, kill 2 non-exiled survivors with the lowest influence. Waste, and keep in mind with this one, helpless survivors don't count towards that. That's only survivors that actually have influence. Waste not. Fail. Take all food cards that were removed from the game and place them into the waste pile. Lose 1 morale. That could be devastating depending on how far into the game you are. Food spoilage. Until the end of the next round, non-exile players cannot use the food tokens to increase the action dice result. Lose 1 morale. Alright, now we've got the tools icon here. Hailstorm. Each non-exile player must roll a die. If they roll a 4 or less, they must place 1 frostbite wound on 1 survivor they control. Remove all barricades from all locations. Unending Hordes. Add 8 zombies to the colony. Lose 1 morale. Shaking things up. Each non-exile player must give one survivor they control to the player on their left. Lose one morale. Zombie Surge. Add 6 zombies to the colony. Add 1 zombie to all other locations. Legions of Death. Add 12 zombies to the colony. Oh, and you can see we moved into, we're in the fuel now. Strength of the Dead. Remove all barricades from the colony. Add 10 zombies to the colony. Blizzard. Non-exiled survivors cannot move until the end of the next round. Lose 1 morale. Fuel shortage. Lose 2 morale. Alright, now we're into the medicine ones. Exhaustion. Place 1 frostbite wound on 5 non-exiled survivors with the highest influence. Illness. Place 1 wound token on all non-exiled survivors. Lose 1 morale. Despair. Lose 2 morale. This one requires either food or medicine. Killer Instinct. Add 3 zombies to the hospital. Add 3 zombies to the gas station. They're watching us. Medicine or tools. Add 3 zombies to the library and 3 zombies to the grocery store. Dead Man's March. Tools or fuel. Add 3 zombies to the school and 3 zombies to the police station. Okay, let's take a look at the starter item cards. Alright, you've got 5 junk. And what junk is, you put in the waste pile, you can re-roll an unused action die you control. You've got 10 food ones. Waste pile, add 1 food token to the food supply. Got 5 medicine cards. Waste pile, remove any type of wound token from a survivor you control, or remove any type of wound token from a survivor that shares a location with a survivor you control. And 5 fuel cards, which are always in high demand, so you don't have to roll exposure when you go to a location. Alright, the police station has 3 Food 1 cards, 3 Colt 1911 pistol cards. Once per round, when this survivor performs an attack, do not roll for exposure. 2 sniper rifle cards. Equip. Once per round, you may kill 1 zombie at any location. Do not roll for exposure. This is not an attack. It does not cost you an action die. That weapon is awesome. And the police station has 1 shotgun. Equip. Once per round, when this survivor performs an attack, kill 2 zombies instead of 1. Do not roll for exposure. If possible, place 1 noise token at this survivor's current location. You're also going to find 1 outsider card there, and two outsiders there. You'll find 4 fuel canisters at the police station, 1 junk, 1 night vision goggles, which these are equipped. At the beginning of each round, roll 1 additional action die. You'll find 1 padlock, put in the waste pile, place 2 barricades at a location that a survivor you control is at. This does not require you to use an action die. And the walkie-talkie. Once per round, you may reduce the unused action die of another player by 1 to increase an unused action die you control by 1. You must be able to reduce an action die to increase a die. At the grocery store, you're going to find 6 medicine, 1 outsider card, 2 outsider cards, 2 food 1, 2 food 2, and 2 food 3 cards. You're also going to find a wrench. Equip. Once per round, you may spend an action die to attack with this survivor. That die does not need to meet or exceed this survivor's attack value. Snowshoes. Equip. If you would receive a frostbite wound, receive a regular wound instead. Hammer. Once per round, when performing a barricade action, you may build 2 barricades instead of 1 at this survivor's location. Junk and rotting flesh. Equip. When spreading a bite effect, ignore this survivor. At the school, you're going to find 3 medicine cards. You're going to find the book Guide to Leadership. Equip. Once per round, you may increase an unused action die you control by 1. Beginner's Martial Arts. Equip. Once per round, do not roll for exposure when performing an attack with this survivor. 1, 2, 3 barricades. Equip once per round during your turn. You may build a barricade without spending an action die if the survivor is at the colony. The school blueprints, which lets you once per round when performing a search at the school with the survivor, you may look at and keep one additional card. You're going to find two outsider cards, 1 3 outsider card. You'll also find 3 food 1 tokens, or excuse me, 3 food 1 cards, and 3 food 2 cards. You've got the scissors. Waste pile. Kill a zombie that shares a location with a survivor you control. Do not roll for exposure. Baseball bat, which, by the way, counts as a tool, just like the scissors, not as a weapon. Equip once per round when performing an attack with this survivor. You may kill 2 zombies instead of 1. Megaphone. Waste pile. Move 4 zombies from one location to a location that a survivor you control is at. Optional when placing this into the waste pile. Shout what you said into the megaphone. And some junk. At the library, you're going to find library blueprints. Equip once per round when performing a search at the library with the survivor. You may look at and keep 1 additional card. You'll find grocery store blueprints. Do the exact same thing except at the grocery store. And gas station blueprints. You'll find the survivor's cookbook. Equip once per round. If this survivor is at the colony, you may add 1 food token to the food supply. A journey in jazzercise. Equip once per round. You may reroll an unused action die you control. Also the police station blueprints and the hospital blueprints. The only blueprints you don't find here are the school blueprints, which are at the school for some reason. You're also going to find 4 food 1 cards. You'll find a reading lamp. Waste pile. Perform an attack with a survivor you control without using an action die. Find some junk. 4 fuel cards, 1 outsider card, and 2 outsider cards. At the hospital, you're going to find 4 medicine cards, 2 adrenaline shot cards, which for the purpose of crisis does still count as medicine or for secret objectives. This one, though, in the waste pile, change an unused action die you control to a result of your choice. 4 food 2 cards, a flashlight. Equip once per round when making noise. You may look at 3 additional cards instead of 1. You still only get to keep 1 though. The mop. Once per round you may remove 5 cards instead of 3 from the waste pile when taking the clean waste action. Got some junk. And you've got 3 2 outsider cards. And 4 fuel cards. And finally, we've got 2 switchblades at the gas station. Equip. Once per round, you may spend an action die to attack with the survivor. That die does not need to meet or exceed that survivor's attack value. Got the shotgun. Equip once per round when this survivor performs an attack. Kill 2 zombies instead of 1. This is just like the shotgun at the police station. You get 2 lighters. Equip once per round when this survivor performs an attack. You may play a fuel card to kill 4 zombies instead of 1. Do not roll for exposure. Do not use the ability on the fuel card. You get 3 food 1 cards, 1 outsider card, 2 outsider cards, 6 fuel cards, and 3 medicine cards.
All right, so there you have it. Those are all the cards that come with Dead of Winter. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you like the channel. If so, please subscribe. And until next time, if you're bored online, board offline.